his sharing time, I believe.
Shen Tower don't talk to me hall Healy Way. Oh, should hall. Come on, good. Unless Concola, I am delighted to be able to make some comments here this evening in relation to ratification of EU and NATO status of forces agreements. I welcome the opportunity to speak in this motion. I listened carefully to the previous debate we had on the issue back in January, only a number of weeks ago. I must say that it raised more questions, Minister, than answers. I heard what Minister Keogh had to say about how a status of forces agreement, SOFA, so far, regulates the legal and administrative arrangements applied to members of foreign forces operating within the state when they are where they are deployed. I noted also that its apparent purpose is to have immunities and indeed privileges extended to members of the defence forces when serving on overseas missions as part of the UN mandated force. And indeed we have, and Tipperary have, a proud record of soldiers serving in the United Nations over many decades. And when we were a very impoverished country and we had a very weak armed forces and not, long set up as an independent state, and we have a proud. And indeed, my colleague Noel Greenish is trying to have some of them recognise that fought in the Congo, and we all are, and we all have some of those people who have been written to regularly by people who served, and they're not getting the due recognition which they should get, Minister, and you're dragging your feet in that area. As I said, immunity is one thing, but privileges being extended to is another. It also relates, in the case of the EU and Partnership for Peace, PFP or SOFA, to the immunities and privileges extended to members of defence forces when engaged in exercises in the EU or NATO or PFP member states or on standby for EU battle groups. And that should be enough for us, that quote, and standby for EU battle groups. For neutral, we can't be going to battle. That should be enough for you, Minister, and for your colleagues in government, that statement alone, that the EU and NFP member states are on standby for the EU battle groups. We're not in any battle with anyone. We're in a financial battle. You are, your government are, with your citizens, Minister, and your health battle, and your battle with the nurses, yes, but we're not battling any other country in wars. And you have stated here, and your objective is that on standby for your battle groups. It fits you better to look after the nurses and look after the people that are homeless and be made homeless by the merciless banks. They are the people who should be on standby to battle, but you won't touch them, not at all. On the one hand, that is all very well and good. We need our soldiers to have legal protection on a par with other member states. Of course we do. Of course we do. And we had a barracks in Clonmel. I was very proud of our soldiers, and I'm still proud of the ones that have been shunted off to Kilkenny, thanks to Big Phil, the enforcer, former Minister Hogan, and then more shunted on to Cork. And when you devastated, when you did more damage, your government minister, to Clonmel and South Tipperary than Cromwell did. We kept him out of Clonmel and we couldn't keep Phil the Destroyer out. And that's what you did, destroy it. And your relations in Carrick and Tyrone, you should know better yourself what happened in Clonmel. But certainly we must have protection for these people, when they go. As I said, we need to have legal protection on par with other member states. When we're out in peacekeeping, when we're out on a capacity of keeping the peace and saving lives, and I salute the work of the Navy in the Middle East and what they've done in plucking so many unfortunate people from the sea, youngsters and mothers and everything else. And I agree with and talk to Wallace. After creating the mayhem, we then have to send forces to try and recognise them. This is like somebody would be out selling sweets to make the concoction, to make the sweet sweeter, to get people to buy them. So it's farcical if you were to pinch yourself and think where you're going, Minister, what you signed up to. However, the motion before us this evening appears to nothing to diminish the clear concerns that exist with respect of how instruments such as these continue to impact and undermine our neutrality. It's as plain as a nose in your face, Minister. As plain as this. They run totally contrary to what our neutrality stands for, in my opinion anyway, and many other people in this House as well, but not with the major parties here. You're so close to Europe now you can't see your nose from your face. We either take our neutrality seriously or we do not. There's no halfway house, Minister. None whatever. If we are taking actions that essentially remove that neutrality, the government needs to be upfront about it. But you're not upfront about anything, so you'd hardly be upfront about this. You're not up front with the way you're cozying up to the banks and they have immunity to do what they like. We saw the central bank come out yesterday again and announce more hundreds of millions that were swindling from ordinary savings accounts. I noted what Deputy Claire Daly had to say in January in the last motion, when she observed that this motion, Deputy Daly is of the view that any decisions involving a clear association with NATO or Western European Union would represent a substantial change in our defence policies and would have long-term, if not immediate, implications for our policy on neutrality. Any such proposals, I'm quoting her, must be put to the people in a referendum before a decision is taken. And you're talking about referendums nearly for the weather. You have ones for everything now. Referendums coming up, you have more than planned. You're trying to bamboozle and cut the people. And you think you'll feed them with all these social issues and whatever, and they'll have voting on it to be great crack. Keep them occupied. Let them eat cake, to quote the famous woman. The ordinary peasants. You can do what you like. I have to agree with Deputy Daly at this point, what she said, that we need a referendum. This is an increasing sense. There's an increasing sense that we are not getting the full picture in terms of gradual erosion of our constitutional position on neutrality. And I don't know if it's that gradual either. It's quite fast when we have motions here. And in 2019, as somebody said earlier, they were celebrating the first Céad Dáil, the Céad Blina, 100 years of our first Dáil. And here we are, rushing this kind of legislation and debates. As was pointed out by Deputy Osnuddick, the present motion before us is very similar to the PESCO, or Presto I called it at the time. We used to feed that to hens one time, but you want to feed all kinds of nonsense now to our people. Deputy Healy will remember the Preston, I'm sure the Concola, where there was no understanding or preparedness in terms of saying we need to go down this road, and then all of a sudden it was foisted on us out of the blue. For these reasons, and because I believe we need to tread far more carefully and slowly and seriously in this area, I will be opposing this, and I will be speaking against it too, Minister. And I think you should look at what's happening, as I said, in the Middle East. And we can't have a debate here in the Middle East because it's not plausible to your friends, the persecution of Christians and indeed minority Muslims. We had no debate here on any topic and issue from the Concola.